Hello my crafty friends, it's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today I am going to make a card using the newest card kit from Create and Inkspire. So I'm just opening up the stencil that came in the kit with all these great splotches on it. I am going to take my card panel and tape it from the back using some painter's tape on all four sides. And then I am going to take my Simon Hurley inks in a rainbow, of course, and use just one blending brush. I wipe it off on my microfiber cloth as I go. And so I'm going to start with Bee Sting. I'm going to get that on the upper corner, and then I'm just going to work my way through the colors. Next, I'm going to be using Traffic Cone. And then once I get Traffic Cone on, I will take my microfiber cloth and wipe off the excess ink because I don't want to accidentally pull in some of the colors into my other colors. Especially when I get towards yellow. You don't want to, that will pick up everything, and I'll have either green, brown, or some sort of not yellow color that I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep working my way through. Slippery When Wet is the yellow color that I will use. And then I did break out some of the newer colors that I recently purchased. These newer colors I purchased from the Brutus Monroe website. They have these Simon Hurley inks available. And this green that I'm using is called Fake Plant. So it's a little bit darker of a green. And then the blue that I'm using, I believe is called Midnight Snack. So it's a little bit darker. And then Triple Berry, and then I had room for a pink, so I used Piggyback as my color options for this one. So once I get all of the colors put down where I want them, and make sure that they're good and all of these little splotches are filled in, and there's little dots as well, so the next color next to it, I just continued to fill it in with that. So once I get all the colors done, in the kit also came a texture paste from Ranger, and mine was a clear glossy option. So I'm going to take one of the palette knives that also came in the kit, and I'm going to put a coat of all of this texture paste all over while the stencil is still down. I debated leaving it as is and letting it dry because it said it would be a glossy finish. Oh, I did have one extra spot, so I just went back to the Bee Sting as if I was starting the rainbow over, so it looked like it would continue on. So now I'm going to take that texture paste and get a even coat of this all over this card panel. And then once I do that, I'm going to remove the stencil. And I would take all of this to my sink and wipe the palette knife and the stencil off just using some soapy water. It really didn't give me any hassle to get it clean because I did it quite quickly. I didn't let it dry at all. Some of these products, once it dries, it's like rock hard. So you do want to clean up all of your tools pretty quickly. So then once I remove the stencil, I'm going to remove the painter's tape from the back of my card panel. I do rip it a few times in the back, but because I didn't stick it to normally what I will do is take the painter's tape and stick it to my pants a few times so that it's not so super sticky, but I didn't do that. I just put it directly down. So it does tear a little bit, but it is the back of the card panel, so no one would ever know that. And it's a little warp from the texture paste putting it on there, so I will use some foam tape to adhere it down. But once I get the tape removed, I'm going to take some glitter from my stash and sprinkle that all over this wet texture paste because I wanted it to have some shimmer and shine. So I'm going to do that all over. I will share on my Instagram, and I did do this panel again, except I added in an extra color. Remember Me, I believe was the blue that I added. And I did not add the glitter, I just did the texture paste. So you can see the difference of what it would look like without the glitter. So I will have that on my Instagram, which is Marie's Vermont Creations. So I cut down a panel of the rainbow cardstock that came in the kit. I put some foam adhesive on the back of my panel, and I'm going to adhere all of that. I apologize for all of the motorcycle traffic that's going by right now, of course, because I'm trying to do a voiceover. Using my art glitter glue to adhere this down to a white card base. And then I'm going to take the sentiment set that came in this kit, and I am going to stamp down you and my world in Gina K Amalgam ink. And then I will trim this off camera using my guillotine trimmer into 2 separate words. And then I take the color word from the stamp set, and I am going to do some rainbow stamping with that. And I will use all of the same colors that I used for my ink splotches so that it matches. So once I get this all lined up, we'll get the black stamping out of the way, and then we'll get to the fun colorful part. You could use, if you had, I wouldn't say alcohol markers, but if you had like Tombow markers, or Stampin' Up! Used to have some brush markers that you could color onto your stamp and stamp it down. You could use that. You could use your Distress Oxides. You could use your Distress Inks. Distress Inks don't stamp as well. You may have to do it a few times, but there are definitely a wide variety of options to get this color variation. You could do it all in one color. You could heat emboss it. There's also a really great embossing powder that came in the kit that I have yet to try, but you could do that maybe on some, it's holographic, so I think it might look nice on some dark cardstock, but like I said, I haven't tried it yet. So there's the bee sting, and then I'm just going to, and I'm just kind of using the edge of the stamp pad to try to stamp that down. If I'd have used my bigger Misty, I probably wouldn't have had as much issues trying to get into that fine area without hitting the ink pad everywhere and making a mess. So I made my own struggle, so just use the bigger one if you have it. Make your life a little easier. And if I went too far with the ink, I just took my microfiber cloth and dabbed off some of it so that it didn't take over all of one letter. And then that way there's not that many, there's not the harsh lines of where one color begins and one color ends. So that's another thing that you can do to kind of soften that, is just take a rag or a paper towel and dab off the edges so that there's no severe lines for that. And then once I get all of this word stamped out with the rainbow, I'm going to fussy cut it out off camera. You could, if you own a Brother Scan and Cut, you could draw a pencil line around the word and then have your machine do it. Catherine Kelly has taught me that trick, that you could, make that happen if you want to do it that way, if fussy cutting is truly not your jam. So then I will take the word you and the phrase my world, and I will pop those up on some foam adhesive squares. For you, I had to cut one in half, and I just used 1/2 of one, but I was able to fit the extra half and then 2 other ones onto the other phrase. And then the color word I adhered down with some art glitter glue, because it is going over that glittered textured area where those ink blotches are. So this card kit is from Create and Inkspire, so I will list their website down below because I highly recommend checking it out. If you're a member of the website, you do save some money off of the kit. So go check it out and see if it's still available. And as always, I hope that you have a great day.